Interesting updates. I think I have tinnitus now. I don't know how that happened, but I keep hearing ringing in my ears when there's no sound, and even when I'm listening to sound, like I kind of feel a faint buzz in the back of my head. So that's very interesting. I think I have tinnitus now. I don't know how that happened. Other than possibly like these earbuds I've been using that make this like cracking sound, and they only work in like one ear. And I've been using them because my headphones have been broken for some time now, so I've just been using those. I think they might have given me tinnitus, which is kind of fun. Um, I've been really physically hurting a lot every day. I have to actually switch hands because I can't hold my arms up this long. Um, I've been really physically hurting because I kind of overdid it with exercise. I kind of overdid the exercise, um, and now I'm really physically hurting. Like my arms, when I use them and when I do stuff with them, it hurts more. But just like on their own, they're hurting, so that's kind of fun. Um, I can't really walk around or stand up without getting so tired that I want to sit down again. It's been like this ever since I woke up. Haven't exercised today. This is all from exercising tomorrow, the day before that, and the day before. Um, so I think I need to take a break from exercising for a while because my body's not reacting well to it, I guess we could say. Um, but one thing I wanted to talk about in this video was the fact that March came in like a damn lion. I haven't actually seen that show. March Came In Like a Lion. I need to watch it. But I know it's about depression in March and has like something to do with the cruelty of age or something. And like a guy is training to be a master at Chinese chess or something, or like mahjong. Um, and so it seems like a really interesting show. I've wanted to watch it for a long time. But for the sake of reference, I wanted to say March came in like a lion. Um, it does every single year for me. Every single year for me, I get horrible bouts of depression in March and April, and I think a lot about suicide and stuff. Now that's strange. I don't know if it's seasonal affective disorder. Does it count as seasonal affective disorder if it only happens for 2 months? I don't know. I just know it's been consistent through looking through all my old videos. Do you think I kind of look like I'm going insane? Like my eyes have gotten darker. And my eyes have gotten darker. Underneath, I've been getting good sleep. Is this just what I'm gonna grow into? Am I just gonna grow into someone who has dark circles under their eyes all the time? I could very well happen. I've always kind of had dark circles under my eyes pretty often, but I've been noticing it more often. I think that's pretty strange, but I kind of want it to happen more. A lot of people tend to present me as someone who's just incredibly narcissistic and doesn't realize it. No, I'm entirely aware of what this entire YouTube channel is relaying to people. I realize what's being conveyed, what I'm communicating, is insanely self-indulgent. Probably one of the most self-indulgent things you'll ever find. Um, but I enjoy making these videos. It's how I decompress, it's how I get through the day, and more importantly, it's how I remember things. I forget more and more stuff as time goes on, and it's gotten to the point where if I want to remember something, I just look back through my YouTube catalog. I could have said something at one point that would have been totally false, and I would have no way of knowing that if it was false or not, because I'm just going back through my videos, you know, and that's my digital memory. And people would say, oh, well, if you just need to record stuff to remember it, why not just keep it on a hard drive somewhere? And well, as you guys have been seeing, I keep an insane amount of stuff just on a hard drive somewhere. Um, but I eventually have to release it somewhere onto the internet, so it's somewhere, like it's not really the same if it's just rotting on your hard drive. When you have a YouTube channel where everything is organized and you have, thumbnails and text that you wrote at the time, and perhaps other posts that are associated with it, it's just a much more coherent archive of everything. And I like that. I like the fact that I can produce all of this stuff of me just trying to keep track of who I was at a specific time, um, and then have that all be in one place, easily findable. And perhaps some other people will enjoy it. Like when I upload these videos, I'm not telling you to enjoy them. In fact, I'm uploading them with the expressed intent of alienating a number of people. And so when you take that into consideration, that I'm actively, trying to uh, be cringy in that sense, or to off-put people who don't like this style of video, um, then you kind of realize I'm not looking for attention here. I'm just sort of doing this because I like to do it. I don't incessantly ask for view counts or anything like that, or for people to share my videos. I simply give you the option of watching them. And in my ideal world, I would much rather have the option of watching everything that someone produces than the option of watching only some of the things that they produce. Because, in my view, some of the best stuff that people make is often the stuff that they dislike. Because there's usually like a specific thing about it, a thing about it that makes it distinct or different, that's going to identify with one person who likes that thing. Um, a lot of my favorite things that were made by my favorite creators were actively disliked by those creators. And so I developed and adopted this principle of just releasing every single thing that you make. Because at that point, um, the whole archive is there for people to pick and choose which ones they like. There are people who've told me they have favorite videos of mine that I really hated, or I just forgot I ever made. Those weren't the videos that I made with the expressed intention of trying to communicate something unique, or trying to get something off my mind that I really needed to get off, that, would have had to have been done so with the best manner of speaking and word choice that I can do. Those are my favorite videos, the ones that can produce really evocative emotions, in some people at least. Videos like These Four Walls, videos like Laundromats are cool, poetry is cool. And of course I point out the written ones because, those are the ones I have the most pride in. But also, the more kind of self-explorative, introspective, edited videos like Understood, which has this sort of tone of nostalgia and sadness to it that I can understand why someone wouldn't appreciate that video as much if they weren't, a fan of me already, if they didn't already watch all these videos and develop a personal connection. But I would like to also think that the way I edited that video and the way things were spoken in it were universal enough to, even for someone who doesn't know who I am, watch it and go, oh, it's Star. Or this is a person we can understand and kind of relate to. Or at the very least find interesting. I have videos of varying degrees of accessibility. Like the self-indulgence thing is ultimately a personal critique, because in a sense we're always indulging in ourselves. If you produce something that you want to exist in the world, you're actively taking your own subjective interests and then prioritizing them over the subjective interests of other people. You are indulging in what you yourself enjoys. It only becomes a bit more extreme once you start actively mentioning yourself. making things with the intention of explaining aspects of yourself, because the audience would then find you to see yourself as important enough to warrant people listening to you. And I don't see things that way. I don't think I'm important enough to warrant people listening to me. I can only say the content or the style of content that I enjoy, which is this introspective, edited vlogging style, or not edited, just very raw, to the point, honest, tells the truth. That style of video is what I like the most. It doesn't matter that I'm doing it. I'm not the point. Me, I could be anybody, and I would watch videos like this. I don't care who made them. It doesn't matter that I'm doing it. That's not the point. The reason I like these videos is not because I made them. The reason I like these videos is because of the style I made them in, which happens to be the style all my favorite YouTubers tend to come from, or at least made videos in that style at some point. That's just what I like, dude. It's partly a style I like. It's not something I'm telling you to watch. It's not something I think you should watch. I actively acknowledge how inaccessible so many of these videos are. And it's just fun. I just do this because it's fun. There wouldn't be any reason to do it otherwise. What do you think I'm going to do this out of obligation? No. There's not really any obligation keeping me here. So, yeah, it's just weird. I just make weird stuff. I make stuff that a lot of people wouldn't like. But, I like people who do that. There's one other point I was going to make, and I kind of forgot what it was. Diary. Yeah, this is just diary for me. I remember stuff way easier when it's on YouTube. And I like sort of forming the kind of social memories of meeting people from these videos, because when you hear every single opinion that I have, every way that I've acted, you've witnessed all of it. Like when you can see all the different ways that I act and think about stuff, you can either choose to talk to me or not talk to me. Because it's like everything is there. So it's kind of like a dating profile in a sense, like for friends. Like you give a summary of who you are, some key details. You say what things you're interested in, and then people just look at you and go, oh, I can either swipe left or swipe right on Star. That's kind of what my videos are. Not literally in the sense of they're for dating people, although I have done that for my videos before. It's for the sake of, partly for the sake of making friends, because someone could watch a bunch of these videos and then say, I want to be friends with Star because I like what they have to say. Or they could say, I don't want to be friends with Star, now I'm not going to waste my time anymore because I know what they have to say. So there's a variety of benefits to this style. There's a variety of reasons I like doing it. And it's cool. I don't see what all the fuss is about. I'm starting to get really tired of this hair not growing back stuff. Really tired of it. Bad, no good. Really bad. Really bad. Not good. Starting to get really tired of that. It needs to grow back at some point. So I can't keep on going around looking like I just got out of jail or something. Something's not right here. Something's not right here. I don't know what this is. What is this YouTube video? Am I scaring subscribers away yet? This is the point. I made videos called unsubscribe. Many videos telling people to unsubscribe. And I think ever since a certain Asian YouTuber cut ties with me, I think a lot of the people, we would consider in the parameter of his audience, aren't watching my videos anymore. Because I don't see them commenting anymore. And I think that's progress. You know, these 1 hour, 50 minute, these 2 hour videos, I think they're doing their job. I think they're doing their job. Now, we just need more of these. I am a shill for the Chinese government now. We're in shill territory. Welcome to my dormitory. If I haven't offended you enough already, please get offended already. Um, shill zone. Depersonalization. That was what I was going to talk about. So I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. I was diagnosed with PTSD. I have depersonalization and derealization symptoms, and it sort of shocked me when I heard her use those terms because, I had been talking about something within the proximity of disassociation or dealing with disassociation symptoms for a long time. I've been talking about feeling like I don't exist since I was like 13 years old, looking at myself as if I'm, watching myself in third person, as if it were a movie going out, like I'm not acting through my actions. And the onset of it, or the triggers sort of for it, are trauma. Thinking about the way things, the way things went about. Oh, I act like so many different things didn't happen. There's a lot of things I don't talk about, for example, and I just sort of refuse to acknowledge that they ever occurred. And I'm like that a lot with a lot of these memories. You think the memories you've heard me talk about are horrible. Boy, oh boy, you don't even know. So I got a lot of stuff going on there. I get, or not so much these days, but I've gotten these really vivid flashbacks to stuff that's happened before. No good. Very bad. No good. And I've gotten these horrible nightmares for quite some time. Um, most nights. No good. Very bad. Um, and there was something else I was going to mention. Oh, yeah. So I think it's sort of interesting thinking about how this plays in my personality overall. Because I notice sort of when I'm getting into that dissociated state, when I remember back to something that happened in a memory from the past, and it sort of hits me with the anxiety, and I start, sort of becoming more vigilant, and at the same time taking more risks. I become really depressed for like a week, over a week. It's been a month was the longest I went, but like a week, a little bit above maybe, and I just feel depressed for that whole time, and I start acting different. I notice my actions change, the way I present myself changes, the things I say change. Um, I start being a lot more mimetic in what I say. Like a lot of the jokes that I make and the kind of statements that I make become much more disingenuous, like there's a character to them that I'm just sort of putting on for the sake of entertainment because, again, it doesn't feel like I'm saying those things. It doesn't feel like I'm the one in the driver's seat, that I'm simply watching someone else play it out, that I'm like a puppeteer, I'm a puppeteer playing with the strings of someone who isn't me. And so I can sort of, put on the show of I'm the big crazy person who's, screaming and shouting and is silly. Um, but that's sort of the meme, like when I get into that really depressed, kind of dissociated state, it's almost like a different version of Star comes out, like this very angsty, kind of, I don't know, I guess the sort of the negative traits of masculinity coming on, and this very, like sort of, did I say edgy, like depressed, kind of crude asshole, just an asshole, just being an asshole, and sort of drawing attention to myself through these really like angry kind of, or sarcastic, like weird turns of phrase. I don't quite, if you've been around for long enough, you've seen me blow up at people. You sort of seen me just act incredibly weird for the sake of it and say really kind of deranged things that don't that don't quite fall in line with what I actually believe and what has been a fairly consistent set of values, you know, like it's easy for me to change my mind and my opinions on things because I'm very open-minded, but a lot of my views have been incredibly consistent for a very, very long time, and I always end up falling back on them even when, I get very silly and strange. And that's why at the end of my video, Diphenhydramine Wet Dreams, at the end of that video I said, which part of me is the character, which part of me is saying things in an untruthful way. I don't know. That's for you to decide. Or I said something along those lines. I said sort of everything was kind of a meme. And it's for you to decide through your interpretation which thing I'm saying is real and what's not. Um, and I was in a really dissociated state when I made that video. Not as dissociated as I've become in the past, but that character, that sort of angsty, kind of, mad, mimetic shapeshifter with all these different skins. When I'm dissociating, when I'm really dealing with the brunt of some trauma, and the depressive symptoms come on, I also get the depersonalization symptoms. And it's difficult to communicate to people what bearing that has on my personality. And I sort of try to express it through this sort of pseudo avant-garde parasocial relationship content where it is just me going insane or not going insane. That's kind of the point. It's a YouTube video, but also a lot of the YouTube videos aren't really YouTube videos because I'm just making everything come out in the heat of the moment, and also sometimes they're edited to not really be like YouTube videos because I want to emphasize the authenticity of it. And maybe the authenticity blurs the line a lot between what's a character and a performance, and also a lot of the time it feels like in order for me to be authentic, I need to be putting on a performance. That's just who I am. Identity doesn't exist. Fuck off. I have had to be so quiet in this video, it's unbelievable. The way I would normally be ranting and raving and shouting at you by this point, none of that here, because people are asleep in my house. I would be a nocturnal journal of every single moment, thought, and minute. That's this YouTube channel, in essence, or rather what it should be, what it was at one point. And I can't seem to be such a guardian of the night. Not today, CIA. Unfortunately, because I don't want to wake people up. I got I got this thing called empathy, and a mutual respect for those I live with. You know, so I don't like doing that. So I gotta talk quiet. Does it sound like I'm whispering? Does it sound like I'm doing ASMR? But anyway, um, you know, uh, I, I I really like the the sort of character or the feeling of going insane, or it's interesting because it blurs the line a lot of the time. Like sometimes I feel like I'm making myself go insane intentionally, in order to be a character, but the purpose of the character isn't for a YouTube video. The purpose of the character is just for me. It's a purely self-indulgent, like I am a piece of art, I am a movie, my life is a movie, and I'm gonna be the most weird character I can be, so I'm just gonna induce insanity into myself. Um, and I like the image of that. I like what that stands for. There's a sort of emotional connection I hold towards that. And I mean also for the videos too, because it makes it more creative, it makes it more silly, it's funny to see someone going insane. And I enjoy being laughed at because I don't want to be taken seriously. I don't want to take myself seriously. Because when you do that, when you take yourself very seriously, there's all this, potential to make other kinds of things that you're squandering. And it may sound like I'm very self-serious, but I would not flip around ideas or be as experimental with them as I am if I did take these things very seriously. Um, to me, it's all just a bit of a game. It's all just a bit of fun. I got core principles that I hold morally. I don't really talk about very much. I don't call myself a moralist, or I don't claim to be one, not because I don't have morals. I have very strong morals, very strong convictions that I hold. The reason I don't call myself a moralist is because I'm not trying to advocate my worldview. I'm not trying to be a pundit for you to parrot everything I say. I don't believe in that. I'm just sharing my ideas. Maybe I'm understood, maybe I'm not, and maybe you get a bit of a laugh out of it. That's it. That's all I'm doing here. And so, like, I don't really take this whole thing very seriously, or just like this life thing very seriously. Perhaps that's a detriment. Perhaps that's contributing to the impending insanity. Who knows? But I like it. I like this sort of feeling. Um, and that's part of the character. That's part of, part of it is authentically myself. The other part is authentically myself putting on a mask for the sake of performance. But the performance will feel more real than what's in actuality. You heard me say this already. So basically, it's a bit of fun, it's just a bit of a gag with the lads. Um, and I like it. I strive to go insane because being a normie is boring.